let's get into this one. So, first and foremost, for anybody who watched the last video and decided to still come back, even though it was super chaotic, I would like to say thank you and welcome back to this next video in my Chakra series installment. This video, we're going to dive a little bit more into the details because last video was focusing on the quick, it wasn't even 5 minutes, but the quick little reset that I had wanted to share with you that I do. I'm going to get a little bit more comfortable because I feel like I'm not able to. I need to sit up. There it is. Okay, so for this one, like I said, I want to talk a little bit more about more details and ways that we can identify a chakra imbalance so we can figure out ways to rebalance that and open that chakra up so we can live more fulfilling and alive and more connected and grounded, rooted lives. So many things I just said there. Okay, so we're going to start off just by going over a quick recap of what we did last time. So, like I said, the root chakra, it's located at the base of your spine. Your pelvic region, the color associated with this chakra is red, sexy red. This chakra is associated with groundedness, security, safety, and a lot of these imbalances form in our childhood and in trauma. And this is what I didn't mention it last time, but this is also something that's to know. It is generational. You know, I guess when people say generational trauma, but it's ancestral. It gets passed down. This is the only chakra that literally can get passed down. I guess all of them can kind of get passed down because they're all grounded in your root chakra. Your root chakra is the base, so everything kind of comes from that base, from your roots. But this one can literally just get passed on to you through birth. If there's any deep shame and fears and insecurities that your mother or your grandma or even beyond that, it just keeps getting passed down to you until you do the work and you change those fears and figure out what the root of those issues are, and make the conscious effort to do it. And to be fair, your root chakra, this one's going to be the hardest one of all of your chakras to open up. This one requires a lot of deep work, as I mentioned before, and it's not fun work. It's a lot of shadow work. It's a lot of going into the parts of yourself where you don't really want to acknowledge, or the parts of yourself that are hard to acknowledge because it's something that's just so normal. I can't think of an example right now without losing my train of thought, but this one is going to take a lot of work. So any person who is here, which is everybody who's here, because this is a video, right? So everybody's here. Everybody who's watching this and who's making the conscious effort to open up your root chakra, I commend you because it is some fucking hard work and we are in this together. And let's just dive into it. So there's 2 buckets of imbalances. So we're going to talk about the signs of imbalances. Hello. So there's a couple signs of imbalances, and we're going to open this up into 2 buckets, which is going to be the overactive and then the underactive bucket. So your overactive bucket is going to be, your signs are going to be you're focused on external appearances and material greed, and maybe you have excessive hoarding of items that hold sentimental value. For instance, me, this couch that's right behind me, right? I've had that couch since forever. I mean, it was at my grandma's house and I shipped it out here. It makes no sense in my living room, but for me, I'm it's from home. And I have just a bunch of random things that make no sense in my home because I'm I need to keep it because it's I don't know. Me, I'm what if one day I don't have a couch? It's stupid. Or there was one point where I had 2 queen size beds in a studio. And instead of getting rid of one bed, I stacked the beds on top of each other so that it was sleeping this high. out of fear. Like I was just thinking, like in the future, maybe one day I'm gonna need 2 beds. Another sign is impulsive decisions that are rooted in fear, like not really being able to make decisions clearly and like thoughtfully, but just being like, oh, I have to do this right now because if I don't do it, I'll never have an opportunity to do this again. And yeah, that's an overactive root chakra. Or fear of change, feeling stuck, overeating or craving like a lot of unhealthy foods, obesity, those kind of things. And then we have our underactive, and your underactive is going to be like feeling disconnected to your body, financial insecurities or difficulties, feeling, and I kind of talked about this in the last one, but like not spending any money is underactive because you're like, oh, I have to hoard all this money, right? Or like in the overactive, excessive spending of your money. Oh, I already said that. Hello. Feeling fatigued and tired all the time, feeling spacey or disorganized, underweight, and lack of discipline, lack of being able to like find the motivation to get life, to reach your goals, or feeling like, just like you're floating through life like unconsciously, like just waking up every day and just moving, but like not really moving intentionally. And I guess an overactive one that I mentioned is like feeling like, I guess this is both of them. I'm trying to think, just like not feeling safe and secure in your body, right? That's like, this just like an overall thing about the root chakra. It's like you don't feel safe and secure, and you don't trust in the universe that it's got you and that you'll be okay and that everything will be fine. You're fine. You have all your things. Like, good thing this video is not going to be used because what the fuck am I saying? Anyway, so there's signs of balances, right? And your signs of balances, right? Why do I always do that? And here are your signs of a balanced chakra. You are confident. You are full of energy. You feel safe, secure. You feel protected by the universe. You trust the process of life. You know that you have, not just but you do have all the things that you need. Like you have a shelter over your head. You have food. You have a support. You feel like you have support, like whether that's family or friends. And you feel like you're exactly where you're meant to be. And that sounds great, right? It sounds great. Like, it's a dream to feel all of those things. And not just, like, feel it in moments, but, like, every day wake up and feel those things. Like, that is the absolute dream. So, how do we achieve these? How do we achieve these roots? This groundedness, this aliveness. So there's a multitude of ways that we could do this, and I'm going to say this first and foremost. In order for this to even like begin opening your root chakra, I should say, you must meet all of your basic needs. Your bills have to be paid. You do have to have a roof over your head. You do have to make sure you're eating foods that are not just like, that are not killing you, but are nourishing you. Those are your basic needs. Because the next thing that I'm going to say is that you have to acknowledge also that you do have needs. These are very important because, like, I don't know, but this is what happened. I went into, because I had a super overactive chakra, I went into this state of mind of like, I have to do everything on my own. I have to figure out everything. I stopped having trust in the universe to protect me because my parents were not meeting my basic needs when I felt, whether that was emotional, financial, physical, they were not meeting my needs. So I learned very young that I had to be responsible for that. And my body like has shut down because like my whole spirit has shut down because of that, because now it's really hard for me to trust people. And even like, I guess this kind of has something to do with it, but like my relationship with God has now more recently that I'm like leaning into that root chakra. I'm like opening up my relationship with him and being like, I trust you to lead me and guide me, because before it was all on me and I felt solely responsible for that. Like I needed to be the person to get everything done. I had to do this. I had to do that. It was all me. And when those weren't met, I felt all the personal responsibility for that. And it's really exhausting. And there's a difference between like being like, I can do it, and like, I have to do it. Right? I want to be in a place where it's like I am able to do it, but I also know that I don't have to be the only person to help myself do that. I can rely on my friends for some support. I can ask people for help when I need it. I can ask, my parents for things. Like, it's like I have to recondition myself to acknowledge that I am not a superhuman, that I am a person who has needs. And that is okay. Yeah, like you do need people. You need community. You need support. You need to be able to trust that other people also have good intentions and can help you. And so, yeah, that's first and foremost. From there on, there's other things that we can do, like meditation. We can meditate. We can clear our mind. We can get connected to our... honestly, like, depending on how deep you can go into meditation, I mean, you can connect with your lineage and have that clearing in that space right there. You can pray. You can say grounding affirmations. You can do pelvic and lower back exercises. You can go to therapy. Hello, shadow work. Do all that stuff. Talk about your past. You have to acknowledge the parts of your past, the shadow. I mean, I'll keep saying shadow, but it's like, none of where you are is just because, like, that's just how it is. It's like there was something that led you to here. So just like understanding like your trauma. Like, I was in an abusive relationship for a long time, and so that also closed me down, and that made me feel very unsafe and not have trust in God and in the universe and all those things. And how can I move forward with my life if I'm pretending like that part of me never happened? I can take that part and understand it and then move forward from it. But if I just act like it never happened, then I'm going to carry all this guilt and this shame inside my body, and it's never going to let me open up. You can do Reiki healing. You can do grounding exercises like going for a walk barefoot, hugging trees, spending time in nature. You can do breathing exercises, gratitude practices. I love gratitude walks. I talked about this last time. Hot girl walks through the mountains. Hello, I did that literally right after I finished recording that video. I was like, I have to go into the mountains. And I did. And then I went and got my Nature America is Great pass. And tomorrow I'm going to go to fucking Mount Zion and do another little hot girl walk and talk about how beautiful this earth is and how great it is to be a part of this. Because it truly is. It truly is. You can journal. You can do visualization exercises and just like imagining yourself and being open and fully embodied and loved and all these great things. There's a lot of exercises that you do. I don't want to overwhelm you, but you can choose whatever one works best for you. I hope that I covered everything in this one. This one is like a Bowie, so cute. This one's just a practice episode, so it really doesn't matter, but maybe one day this gets released. But thank you all for listening, and I just want to remind you that you are safe. You are supported. You are worthy. You are all these things, and I want to remind you that this journey is not an easy journey, and you should be so proud of yourself for even being here, for doing this, because this is hard. This is boring. It's not boring. I think it's really interesting stuff. But there's little things that you can do every day. Maybe it's not like jumping into therapy right away. Maybe it's literally just wearing the color red. Maybe it's just going for that little walk with no music. Ooh. Can you sit with your thoughts? Maybe it's just dancing a little bit, because dancing is another way you can open up that root chakra. Listening to some Afro beats, fucking shaking your butt. It's crazy. You wouldn't think that shaking your ass is like a way to open up your chakra, but yeah. Hello, pop that pussy and shake that ass. Not the vibe for this video. But there's a lot of things that you can do, and just tapping in and what can I do every single day? And then eventually it'll start snowballing. Eventually you'll be like, oh my God, how did I get here? I'm so free. Oh my God. And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe when I looked back and remember how hard it was for me to just like sit in silence, and now how easy it is. You're doing incredible. You're doing incredible together. Thank you all, and I will see you next time.